Okay, welcome back. Class number 18. Not bad, not bad. We're progressing. Okay, by the way, I'm wearing a white shirt. It wasn't my idea to wear this white shirt today. Maria told me to wear it. And Maria's the floor manager. So I have to follow her instructions. She told me to wear the white shirt. She told me to use this pen. She told me to start on class number 18. She told me to put the water in such a way that you can see it. And I put the water like this, and Maria told me, "No, Richard, I told you to put the water like that. You never remember." And every day she tells me the same thing. She tells me to put the water like this, for publicidad, and I forget. And I put it like this, and every day she tells me again. And she says the same thing, okay? She's a pain in the neck. Es un pesadito, decimos un dolor en el cuello, como tortícolis. She's a pain in the neck. And before the class, before the beginning of this class, she said, "Richard," I said, "Yes, Maria? What did I tell you?" "I don't know." "Didn't I tell you to move the cup like that?" I said, "Yeah." "Well, why don't you do what I tell you? Do I have to tell you every day?" And constantly she's telling me what to do. Okay? Está bien, no? Okay. Camera number 1. All right. Tell him to come. Tell him to go. Tell him to be careful. Tell him to watch out. Que es lo mismo para ten cuidado, porque que ojo, que tengan cuidado. Tell me to look at the camera. Richard, look at the camera, please. Okay. Tell her to bring me some more water. Tell her. Tell her. Okay? Tell me a story. I want to hear a story. Tell me a story about a prince and a princess. Tell me a love story. Tell me a horror story. Historia de terror. We say horror. You say película de terror. We say película de horror. A horror film. Oh my God. Tell me a horror story. Tell me a scary story. Que asusta. Tell me. Okay? Tell them the reason. Tell them what your plans are. Tell them what time you get up every day. I get up at 5:30 every day. Oh, good. Tell them why you get up at 5:30. I get up at 5:30 because I need to start at 7 o'clock. You have to start at 7 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, every day. Poor guy. No, I prefer to start at 7 o'clock. Well, tell me why you prefer to start at 7 o'clock. Because I leave home at 6:45, and I'm the first person in the streets in this city. And so, empiezo con ventaja. I have a head start. Head is cabeza. Cabeza, comienzo. Head start. A head start is salir con ventaja. I have a head start. I start working when some people are still sleeping. And people say, "Richard, ese Vaughan, ¿cómo ha conseguido esas cosas?" ¿Ah? It's because I was working when you were sleeping. Huh? Okay. There's no trick. Al que madruga, Dios le ayuda, decís aquí, no? Okay. And there is, in my opinion, a direct correlation. Not 100%, of course, but there's a very clear correlation between getting up early, getting out, saliendo, early, and starting to work early. And it works normally. It changes your mentality. It provides a useful and very positive mentality that often transforms into success. Okay, but this is not a philosophical class. Okay, this is an English class. Tell me to say something important. Well, tomorrow I'm going to come here for another English class. That's important. Tell me to say something funny. No thanks. I don't tell jokes on television or on the radio. Okay, I don't tell jokes. Why? Because if I tell a joke, to tell a joke, aquí tell es como contar un chiste. If I tell a joke on television or on the radio, I can't see you or hear you. So I don't know if you laugh or you don't laugh. And it's a strange feeling to tell a joke and you don't know the reaction of the people because you can't see them. To tell a joke, to tell a story, to tell an anecdote, to tell a funny story, to tell. Ahora, recordad, en plan de repaso, que tell es un verbo que cuando es decir exige complemento indirecto. ¿Qué es un complemento indirecto? Pues es un complemento que recibe indirectamente el impacto del verbo. Dáselo, da el libro a Juan, dáselo, da el libro a Juan. El libro es el complemento indirecto porque recibe el impacto directo del dar. Y Juan es el complemento indirecto porque está indirectamente involucrado como receptor. Pero es el libro quien es objeto de todo este transmisión. Okay? Him, her. Dime. Dile. Dile a ella. O dila, como dicen en el centro de España. Diles. Dinos. Tell us. Tell him. Tell her. Tell me. I'll tell you. Tell them. All right? Nunca say, por favor, os lo suplico. No digáis nunca, say me. It's tell me. All right? Lionel Richie en su famosa canción, Say you, say me. Él no estaba diciendo dime o dite. Él estaba diciendo di, tú, di, yo. Say you, say me. Okay. Estropeó 8 años de enseñanza mía con esa canción. Trying to teach Spanish people say, tell me, no say me. Tell him the reason. Tell her the reason. Tell them the reason. Tell me the reason. Tell us the reason, and I'll tell you the reason. Okay, to tell. Say your name. Tell me why. Say something. Tell me something. Say your last name. Tell me your last name. Say a number between 1 and 5. Tell me a number between 1 and 5. Okay. Now another teacher will take over for me. Will take over. But I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Gracias, Richard. Hello, I'm Hannah. ¿Qué tal? ¿Bien? Okay, are you ready? ¿Estáis preparados para practicar y poner en práctica conmigo y con mi alumno especial, Jesús? Hello, Jesús.
Hello, Hannah.
Okay, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
And you?
I'm fine, thank you. Bien, so are you ready to practice with us? Are you ready? Bien. We're going to review. Vamos a repasar la clase anterior. So, empezamos. Do you tell me many things every day?
Yes, I tell you many things every day.
Good. Do you tell me your name every day?
Yes, I tell you my name every day.
Good. Do you tell me stories every week?
Yes, I tell you stories every week.
Ok, muy bien. Estamos con el presente de tell. Muy bien. Ok, ahora vamos por el pasado. Did. Did you tell me many things last week?
Yes, I told you many things last week.
Good. Told. Now, here, fijaos en la pronunciación. Told. Told. Que se oiga muy bien la D. La D al final. Told. Told. Repeat.
Told.
Muy bien. Told. Told. Yes, I told you many things last week. Okay. Did you tell me your name this morning?
Yes, I told you my name this morning.
Good. Did you tell me your address yesterday?
Yes, I told you my address yesterday.
Okay, good. Repeat again.
Yes, I told you my address yesterday.
Okay, good. Repeat, told you,
Told you.
told you.
Told you.
Yes. ¿Qué hacemos aquí? Conectamos las dos palabras told you como si fuera una sola. Hacemos mucho eso en inglés, ¿verdad? Conectamos las palabras como si fueran sola una palabra. Told you, told you. Repeat, told you,
Told you.
told you.
Told you.
Good, told you. Yes, I told you my address yesterday. Okay. Did you tell me anything yesterday?
Yes, I told you anything yesterday.
En afirmativo, ¿qué usamos? Yes, I told you something.
Something.
Yes,
Something.
okay, muy bien. So, en afirmativo decimos something. Yes, I told you something this morning. Okay, good. Now, ask me. Ahora vamos por las preguntas. Ask me if I tell you many things every day.
Did you tell me many things?
Let me repeat. Ask me if I tell you many things every day.
Did you?
Ask me if I tell. Presente simple.
Ah.
Ask me if I tell.
Yeah.
Presente simple.
Do you tell me many things every day?
Eso es. Repeat.
Do you tell me many things every day?
Okay, good. Do you tell me many things every day? Presente. Ahora pasado. Ask me if I told you anything yesterday.
Did you tell me many things yesterday?
Anything.
Yesterday?
Okay, good. Did you tell me anything yesterday? Okay, en el pasado. Muy bien, vale. Seguimos. Now we're going to look at ser mejor o peor en algo. Here we go. Are you better at football than your brother?
Yes, I'm better in football
At.
at football than my brother.
Eso es. Don't forget, no olvidéis que ponemos better at. Better at. No in. Better in, no. Better at. La preposición at. Are you better at tennis than your sister?
Yes, I'm better at tennis than my sister.
Good. Are you better at math than your brother?
Yes, I'm better at math than my brother.
Muy bien. Good. Repeat. Brother.
Brother.
Brother. Sí.
Brother.
Rrr. Ha dicho Jesús brother. Brother. Con
Brother.
rrr. Ok. Rrr en español suena fantástico. Me encanta. Rrr. Pero en inglés, nada. No. Mejor no. Dejar rrr en casa. Ok, bien. Are you better at golf than your brother?
Yes, I'm better at golf than my brother.
Muy bien. Brother. Brother. Sin rrr. No me deis brother. No. Brother. Brother. Muy bien. Ask me if I'm better at golf than my father.
Are you better at golf than your father?
No, I'm not better at golf than my father. In fact, I'm worse at golf than my father. My father is a great golfer. He's incredible. Sí, que los coreanos y el golf van juntos así.
Yeah.
Sí, sí. We love golf. Okay. Ask me if I'm better at languages than my brother.
Are you better at languages than your brother?
Yes, I'm better at languages than my brother. Muy bien. Ask me if I'm better at math than my brother.
Are you better at math than your brother?
No, I'm worse at math than my brother. Okay, he's amazing with math. He's a dentist. So all the subjects with math and science, he's fantastic. I'm languages, arts, things like that. Okay, muy bien. Buen trabajo en casa. Ahora os dejo con Richard. Bye.
Okay, welcome back. Yes, this English class is getting easier and easier. Cada vez más fácil, ¿a que sí? Easier and easier. It's not getting more and more difficult. And this class is even easier, incluso más fácil todavía, even easier on camera 1, not on camera 2. So let's change. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes, English is easier on camera 1. It's more difficult on camera 2. Recordad que las palabras con una sílaba o dos sílabas se añade ER. Okay? Big, bigger. Small, smaller. Tall, taller. Short, shorter. Shorter than. Easy, easier than. Pero three syllables or more, siempre con more. Or less, more difficult than. Chinese is more difficult than Spanish. Spanish is less difficult than Chinese. Russian is more difficult than English. English is less difficult than Russian. This program, this English course, is less difficult than others because it's better than the others, okay? And the Spanish is less difficult than Portuguese. Portuguese is more difficult than Spanish. Yes, Portuguese is a difficult language. Portuguese, la T-U de portu, tu, T-U en inglés tiene sonido de chu. Portuguese. Portuguese is more difficult than Spanish. Especially Portuguese phonetics, okay, are more difficult than Spanish phonetics. All right, more expensive. A Rolls Royce is more expensive than an Opel. An Opel is less expensive than a Rolls Royce. English classes with Baugan are less expensive than English classes in other schools. ¿Cómo que es menos caro? Sois los más caros. No, we're not. We are not the most, we're the cheapest. Anda ya. Yeah? Nah, anda. Me estás tomando el pelo. You're pulling my leg. You're pulling my leg. Now, you're not less expensive than the rest. Yes, we are. We're much less expensive than the rest. Well, what do you want? Tell me what you want. Do you want English classes or do you want to learn English? Which? Well, of course, I want to learn English. Okay, we're the cheapest. I don't understand. Well, let me repeat the question, okay? Let me repeat the question. What do you want? English classes or to learn English? I said I want to learn English. Okay, then we are the least expensive. We are less expensive than the rest. I still don't understand. Well, listen, if you want English classes, maybe we're more expensive than others. But if you want to learn English, we are less expensive than the others. Okay? Because 1 hour with us gives you more improvement than with others. Okay? Unidad de aprendizaje por euro gastado. We're the cheapest, okay? So if you want to learn English, put yourself in our hands and we will give you English. But you have to work hard and help us, okay? Because if you don't, you can leave, okay? We'll take you, all right? More difficult, less difficult. More expensive, less expensive. What's more expensive? What's more expensive? A cup of coffee? A cup of coffee or a whiskey? Well, normally a whiskey is more expensive than a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is less expensive than a whiskey, okay? Yes, a cup of coffee isn't as expensive as a whiskey. Okay, a whiskey is more expensive. Okay, what country is bigger? France or Spain? Well, in population, France is bigger than Spain. And is France bigger than Spain in area too? Yes, France is a little bigger than Spain in area too. Spain is smaller. Okay? And is Italy more important than Turkey? That's an interesting question. It depends. ¿Cómo? It depends. It depends. ¿Y de qué depende? What does it depend on? Qué difícil es en inglés, ¿eh? ¿De qué depende? What does it depend on? Seguido. What does it depend on? Well, in GDP, gross domestic product, Italy is more important than Turkey. But in population, Turkey is more important than Italy. In geopolitical and strategic importance, maybe Turkey is more important than Italy. In literature, art, and music, perhaps Italy is more important than Turkey. Okay. In industry, difficult question. Maybe Italy is more important than Turkey too. And in commerce, international trade and commerce, I think Turkey is more important than Italy, but I'm not sure. Okay? In tourism, Italy is more important than Turkey. Okay? But in future potential, maybe Turkey is more important than Italy. And in economic growth, current economic growth, Turkey is more important than Italy. In impact on world developments in population, Turkey is more important than Italy. Italy is less important than Turkey. More than, less than. Okay? I have more free time than my wife. My wife has less free time than I do. More important, less important. More and less. Okay? English is more difficult than Spanish. French is more difficult than Italian. German is more difficult than French. Russian is more difficult than German. And Chinese is more difficult than Russian. What language, how many languages are more difficult than Spanish? Many languages are more difficult than Spanish. How many languages are less difficult than Spanish? I don't know. I don't know. Spanish is difficult, but it's not as difficult as some other languages. Okay? And is this class more difficult than the class yesterday? Or is this class less difficult than the class yesterday? I think this class today is a little less difficult. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's not my job to know which is more difficult, what's less difficult. And for you, are these classes more difficult than other classes or less difficult? Who knows? Now, a few words from our sponsors, but I'll be back. Okay, is learning English more expensive than buying a car? Well, it depends. If you buy a Rolls Royce, no. Learning English is less expensive than buying. Fijaos que uso los gerundios aquí. El aprender inglés es más barato en este caso que comprar un Rolls Royce, un Rolls. Learning English is less expensive than buying a Rolls Royce. Is learning English less expensive than buying a BMW? Maybe not. Learning English is very expensive. Learning English is expensive in money, in time, and in effort. And these three elements, money, time, and effort, learning English well is perhaps 30,000 euros or more. Okay? So it's expensive, but it's not more expensive than a Rolls Royce or perhaps a BMW. Okay, some of my colleagues will be with you now, and I'll be back in about 8 or 9 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. My name's David Waddell, and I'm here to put into practice what Richard has just taught you. That is the comparative. But before that, I'm going to introduce you to my wonderful, wonderful student, Luca. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
You well?
Yes.
Are you ready to work hard as always?
I'm going to
Come on.
work harder.
Harder. Muy bien. Con el comparativo. Oh, es un crack. Es un crack. Muy bien. But today, we're going to look at comparatives, but with long adjectives. Adjectives that have either 2 or more syllables. Now, if the adjective ends in y, in a y, then we use the normal way. Easy is easier. But if it doesn't end in y, or it has more than 2 syllables, then we have to add the word more. So we say más caro que is more expensive than. Not that. More expensive than. Expensive tiene tres sílabas. Expensive. So it's more expensive. Or more beautiful. Más bello. More beautiful. Sin embargo, pretty tiene una Y, entonces es prettier. So no añadimos el more, yeah? Más o menos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some questions, okay? And I want you to answer, and Luca's going to answer as well, yeah? Okay. All of them have, all of the adjectives have more than 2 syllables, okay? So for example, Luca, are you more intelligent than your neighbor? Are you more intelligent than your neighbor? Now, intelligent tiene tres sílabas, so it's more intelligent. Are you more intelligent than your neighbor, tu vecino? Are you more intelligent than your neighbor?
Yes, I am more intelligent than my neighbor.
Muy bien, repeat.
Yes, I am more intelligent than my neighbor.
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 Neighbor. Y quiero escuchar muy bien el sonido de M, del verbo to be. Yes, I'm more intelligent than my neighbor. Repeat.
Yes, I'm more intelligent than my neighbor.
Muy bien, mucho mejor. Otra vez.
Yes, I'm more intelligent than my neighbor.
Muy bien. Ahora en casa, are you more intelligent than your neighbor? Are you more intelligent than your neighbor? Yes, I'm more intelligent than my neighbor. Or, in el otro caso, no, I'm not more intelligent than my neighbor. Okay. Another question, Luca. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Good, mejor. Yes, I am. Respuesta corta. Is Chinese more difficult than Spanish? Is Chinese more difficult than Spanish? Difficult, tres sílabas. So more difficult, not difficulter. More difficult. Is Spanish more difficult than Chinese?
No, it's Chinese.
Is Chinese more difficult than Spanish? Perdón.
Yes, Chinese is more difficult than Spanish.
Muy bien. Spanish.
Spanish.
Okay, not bad. One more time. Yes?
Yes, Chinese is more difficult than Spanish.
Good. And than. Okay,
than.
una vez más.
Yes, Chinese is more difficult than Spanish.
Muy bien. Mucho más claro. Okay, is Chinese more difficult than Spanish? Yes. Chinese is more difficult than Spanish. Difficult, 3 syllables. So we say more difficult, not difficulter. Another question. This is a good question, is the National Geographic more interesting than Hola?
Yes, National Geographic is more interesting than Hola.
Okay, I'll ask you again. Is the National Geographic more interesting than Hola? Otra vez?
Yes, the National Geographic is more interesting than Hola.
Okay, has dicho interesting.
No.
Interesting. ¿Cómo se dice?
Interesting.
Tiene 3 sílabas. Interesting. So repeat it again. Yes?
Yes, the National Geographic is more interesting than Hola.
Okay, otra vez. No estoy convencido.
Yes, the National
Yes?
No. Yes.
Yes.
The National Geographic is more interesting than Hola.
Muy bien, okay, en casa. Is the National Geographic more interesting than Hola? Yes or no, maybe not. But vamos a decir
yes, it is.
It is, okay. Yes, the National Geographic is more interesting than Hola. Okay, the National Geographic is more interesting than Hola. Another question, yeah? Okay. Is Penelope Cruz more famous than you are?
Yes, Penelope.
I'll repeat the question one more
Okay.
time, just for people. Is Penelope Cruz more famous than you are? Luca, okay.
Yes, Penelope Cruz is more famous than me.
Than me or than I am?
Than
Los
I
dos
am.
valen, yeah? Okay, one more time.
Yes, Penelope Cruz is more
Famous.
famous
Yes, okay.
than me.
Than me or than I am. Muy bien. Famous solo tiene dos sílabas, pero no tiene Y al final. Entonces, more famous. We don't say famouser. Famouser. More famous. So, at home, is Penelope Cruz more famous than you are? Yes, Penelope Cruz is more famous than I am or than me. Muy bien. Okay, another one. Are the French more sophisticated than the Spanish? I'll repeat it one more time. Are the French more sophisticated than the Spanish?
Yes, the French are more sophisticated than the Spanish.
No.
Yes, they are, but we are nicer, so.
Nicer. Muy bien, nicer. Un adjetivo muy corta. Nicer, not more nice. So, again, repeat.
Yes,
The French.
the French are more sophisticated than the Spanish.
Okay, I want you to now ask me a question. Now, ask me if Madrid is more beautiful than Paris in casa. Is Madrid more beautiful than Paris? Luca.
Is Madrid more beautiful than Paris?
Exactly. Very good. Okay, me ha liado un poquito. Okay, ask me another one. Ask me if my chair is more comfortable than your chair.
Is your chair more comfortable than my chair?
Okay, comfortable. Comfortable. Cómodo. Comfortable.
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 Oh, that one I don't know how to pronounce.
Don't
the
worry.
one in the middle.
Comfortable. Okay.
Comfortable.
Muy bien. Ahora tenemos que dejarlo. Lo siento, pero os vemos luego. Hasta luego. Chao.
Okay, welcome back. It's getting harder and harder for me. It's getting harder and harder to find a restaurant with home cooking, comida casera. It's getting harder and harder to find good restaurants with home cooking. Camera number one. Fijaos cómo lo acabo de decir. Se está haciendo cada vez más difícil. He hecho la palabra hard, duro, pero usamos hard como difícil más que la palabra difficult. It's getting harder and harder to find authentic Spanish cuisine. It's getting harder and harder to find good English teachers in this country. It's getting harder and harder to find a good flat at a good price. It's getting harder and harder, etc. Estoy usando el adjetivo en su forma de comparativo dos veces seguidas. Harder and harder. Más, diríais aquí, cada vez más difícil, pero también he visto y he leído, está haciendo más y más, se está haciendo más y más difícil, que es más como en inglés. Decimos dos veces. Se está haciendo cada vez más, o está cada vez más lejos. It's farther and farther away. Se está haciendo cada vez más largo. It's getting longer and longer. The time you have to wait in the Social Security system is getting longer and longer. Maybe with a different government, the time will get shorter and shorter. Who knows? This English program is getting more and more stimulating. It's getting more and more interesting, okay? Me, I'm getting more and more tired, okay? Because the lights, the cameras, the sound system, it makes me tired. I'm getting more and more tired. This method is getting longer and longer. My God, it's getting longer and longer. But now, the days are getting shorter and shorter. Now we're in the time of the year in which the days are getting shorter and shorter. Cada vez más cortos los días. Later, the days will start to get longer and longer. Okay? Your English is getting better and better. También puedo decir, your English is getting better. Tu inglés está mejorando. Ahora, si quieres decir tu inglés se está haciendo cada vez mejor, o es cada vez mejor. Your English is better and better. Lo decimos dos veces. Your English is better and better. My Spanish is getting worse and worse. And it's true. My Spanish is getting worse and worse. Up to age 40 or 45, no problem. And then your memory goes, your phonetics, you lose your phonetics, you lose certain faculties. And my English is getting worse and worse. My health is getting worse and worse. Maybe, okay? But my disposition, in general, about life is getting better and better. Your English, I hope, is getting better and better. Your attitude, attitude. Fijaos cómo digo actitud. Hay una C en español, pero hay tres T's en inglés. Attitude, doble T al principio. Attitude. Okay, I hope your attitude is getting better and better. Towards, hacia el idioma inglés, towards the English language, okay? And Spanish food for me is getting better and better. Spanish food, for most people who come to Spain, the first contact with Spanish food is not very positive. People don't like paella the first time usually, or it's too rich. Too rich means muy fuerte, demasiado fuerte. Too rich, too concentrated, okay? But if you stay and continue, you begin to like it, and the food gets better and better. What you call in Spanish un gusto adquirido, an acquired taste. So Spanish food gets better and better when you live in Spain. It gets better and better. The finishing the English language, reaching a good level, is getting closer and closer. It's not getting farther and farther away. It's getting closer and closer. The end of my life is getting closer and closer. For the fatidic day. And for you it's the same. No matter what your age, the end of your life is getting closer and closer. Every day it gets closer and closer. A bit morbid today. All right? And learning English for you will get easier and easier with time. If you continue watching this program, if you continue making an effort, if you continue studying and doing the exercises, English will get easier and easier for you, and your objective will get closer and closer, and you will speak better and better. Hablarás cada vez mejor. You'll speak better and better. Es curioso como en inglés repetimos esto. Y cuando lo oí por primera vez en español me extrañé. Anda, lo usan a veces como en inglés, más y más fácil. El inglés se me está haciendo más y más fácil. Creo que es incorrecto en castellano, pero lo he oído bastante, sobre todo en los últimos 20 años, como si fuera una importación del inglés. Mejor y mejor, en vez de cada vez mejor. Better and better. English is getting easier and easier. I'm feeling better and better about English. I express myself better and better. Yes. Okay. Better. Worse. It's getting worse and worse. Oh my God. Cada vez peor. Worse and worse. And this method is going deeper and deeper. Cada vez más profundo. Profundizando cada vez más. This method is going deeper and deeper into the English language. And I'm having more and more problems trying to remember or trying to cover everything. I'm having more and more difficulties trying to cover everything. But I'm enjoying this program more and more. The first day I started, I wasn't sure. Well, I was sure. But the first day of the program, there were many unknowns, things you don't know. But now I'm enjoying this program more and more. I'm having more and more fun teaching this program. I'm having a better and better time teaching this program, okay? And I'm enjoying more and more working with Maria and the other people. And I think they're beginning to understand me better and better, cada vez mejor. And I think their English is getting better and better. I don't know if they are, Maria and Javier and the rest of the people working here. I don't know if their English is getting better and better. But I think, a fuerza de tanto oírme y a mis compañeros, I think in the end se les entra, por muy dura que sea la mollera. I think it's entering. So their English is getting better and better. Okay. So I'll be back in a few minutes after our next teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. My name's David Waddell, and I'm here to teach you more English. And I'm here also with my student, Luca. How are you today, Luca?
Fine. I'm feeling very well.
You're feeling very well.
Yes, I
Are you
do.
nervous today?
No, it's okay now.
No, neither am I. It's good, isn't it? We're not nervous anymore.
No, I'm feeling
Perfect.
relaxed and happy.
Yeah. Okay, so the first part of this class is vocabulary. We have to learn 5 pieces of vocabulary every day. Now, the 5 words today, the first word is frequent. 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 Now, Luca, ¿cómo se dice frequent en español?
Frecuentemente o a menudo.
Frequent o frecuente. Frecuente.
Frecuente.
Yeah. Muy
Frecuente.
bien.
Sí,
Frecuente.
dices frecuente.
Sí, it's frecuente. Okay. And the second one is gesture. Gesture. Now, it's a difficult word to say because it looks like it's gesture. Gesture. No, gesture. Gesture. Now, gesture. ¿Qué significa gesture, Luca?
Un gesto.
Un gesto.
O tener un detalle con
Un
alguien. ¿no?
detalle, muy bien, un gesto, un detalle. So in casa, gesture, repítalo, gesture, gesture. The third word is, in fact, it's an expression, really. In charge of, in charge of. No es encargo de. No, it's responsable de. So in charge of, can you repeat that word for me?
In charge of.
In charge of. Tres palabras.
In charge of.
In charge of. We don't say responsible for. It's not very, very common. In charge of. In charge of. I'm in charge of materials. I'm in charge of 10 people, for example. Yeah, responsable de. Responsable de cualquier cosa. Okay. The fourth word, the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games, 3 words in fact. The Olympic Games. The Olympic Games.
Olympic Games. Los
Yeah.
Juegos Olímpicos.
Los Juegos Olímpicos. Yeah, the Olympic Games. Muy fácil. And the last word is nonsense. 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 What does nonsense mean?
Tontería.
Tonterías. Tonterías. Exactly. Nonsense. Nonsense. So the 5 words again: frequent, gesture, in charge of, the Olympic Games, and nonsense. Nonsense. Tonterías. Nonsense. Yes. Perfect. So learn them, because tomorrow there will be 5 more words to learn. Okay? So you have to learn your vocabulary. It's very important. Okay. Now we're going to look at an expression which means in Spanish cada vez más. Cada vez más fácil. Cada vez más difícil. Now in English we don't say each time more easy or each time more difficult. We say easier and easier. Más fácil y más fácil. Or more and more difficult. When the adjective is longer, for example, difficult, tiene 3 sílabas, we say more difficult, yeah? More difficult, the comparativo, more difficult. So, cada vez más difícil, more and more difficult. Cada vez más fácil, easier and easier. Porque easy is a very short adjective. So, the comparative is easier, easier. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Luca, I'm going to ask you some very interesting questions. And I want you to answer them. Okay, for example, is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to learn English nowadays, hoy en día, nowadays? Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to learn English nowadays? Luca.
It's easier and easier to learn English nowadays.
Okay, repeat.
With this program,
Yeah, of course, con este curso, claro. Okay.
it's easier and easier to learn English.
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 No, how do you say?
English. English.
English.
En casa. Muy importante, pronunciación. English. 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 Be quiet. English. Not English. English. Yeah?
English.
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 English. English con un acento más pico.
English.
English.
English. English and English.
Muy bien, okay. So,
We don't have that.
lo sé, es un problema.
English.
Siempre es un problema. Sí, so, hay un S silbado y hay un S más flojo.
It's good.
English. Exactamente. English. 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 Okay.
English.
So again, repeat.
It's easier and easier to learn English nowadays.
English.
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 English. In casa, English. English. Okay, very good. Now, is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays? Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays? Luca.
It's more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays.
Muy bien. Okay, repeat.
It's more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays.
Muy bien. And in casa, Luca ha dicho muy bien, difficult, difficult. It's not difficult, difficult. No, difficult, difficult. It's more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays. Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays? It's more and more difficult to buy a house nowadays. Another question, Luca, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to eat healthily? Healthily.
It's easier and easier to eat healthier.
Healthily. Okay,
Healthily.
en casa. To comer sano en inglés is to eat healthily. Con el adverbio. Healthily. 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 Tres sílabas.
Healthily.
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 Okay, so repeat the sentence
It's
again.
easier and easier to eat healthier.
Healthy, casi. Healthily. Healthily.
Healthily.
Healthily.
Healthily.
Healthily. Es un adverbio difícil,
Healthily.
pero hay que repetirlo miles de veces. Healthily. Healthily. To eat healthily. It's easier and easier to eat healthily nowadays. It's easier and easier. Es más, cada vez más fácil comer sano hoy en día. Más o menos, ¿no? En inglés. Okay, another one. Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays? Un loan is un préstamo. ¿Vale? Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays? Luca.
It's more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays.
Again?
It's more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays.
Muy bien, lo has dicho muy bien. Alone. Como alone también es solo. Pero alone, un préstamo. Alone. It's more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays. Repeat again.
It's more and more difficult to get a loan nowadays.
Nowadays. Muy bien. One more question. Is it easier and easier or more and more difficult to find work nowadays?
Can you repeat it
Is
again?
it easier and easier or more and more difficult to find work nowadays?
It's more and more difficult to get work
find work.
To find work
Okay,
nowadays.
in casa, it's more and more difficult to find work nowadays. But we have to finish now. I'm so sorry. Tenemos que terminar. Richard, muchas gracias.
Okay, one more class. I hope this program is getting easier and easier for you. I'm enjoying it more and more, but I hope you're enjoying it more and more too. You may think, puede que pienses, you may think that we're repeating things too much. We're constantly going over the same material again and again, and you could find it a bit tedious or maybe boring. But remember, to learn a second language, to assimilate a second language requires thousands of repetitions, again and again, una y otra vez, hasta la saciedad. Y luego se queda. It stays in your head. And then you begin to reproduce the structures, the forms, the vocabulary, almost spontaneously. But to reproduce spontaneity, you have to repeat and hear things again and again. So stay with us, and you'll see the benefit.